boom for the steroid.
Episode 103 of Chet and John's Reassuringly Finite Gaming Playlist. My name is Chet Rovers. With me, as per effing usual, is John Denton.
Excuse me.
We're going to go through two top 10 lists. The two top 10 lists of the 10 games we've been playing over the past 7 days. The number 10s are the games we've been playing for the least amount of time. The number 1s are the games we've been playing for the most amount of time. That's it, John. Let's do this.
Number 10 for me is I went back to Rambo, the video game, on the PC, and I just couldn't, I don't know, the charm that it had the first time I loaded it up kind of dissipated instantly when I put it back on again. And I just thought, really, with such limited time, is this what I'm going to spend my time playing? And then I immediately answered no. So I shot a few more Chinese/Vietnamese/Asian men in Raiden hats. And, like I said before, it's clearly quite a fun game, but I couldn't justify the time to spend shooting it. But I am fascinated by Rambo's character model, as you mentioned when you talked about it at length. It's quite something. It's got like PS1 level detail.
Yeah, it's weird. He does stand out. That's a shame because I mean, like as much as I hated the end, I did enjoy it until then, and I think it's good. But I suppose you have to have a sort of mild obsession with those films.
Yeah, I've seen them all, but I don't remember any of them apart from the first one. And I remember you telling me at length about was it the most expensive shot of all time in Rambo 3?
The shot in
it
Rambo 3. It
fires an arrow and it goes through a camera, is it?
And it goes into the helicopter, but the wind blew it straight into a camera, like a Paraflex, hundreds of thousands of pounds worth of kit. So, yeah, fascinating.
Yeah, that stayed with me for about 13 years. So, yeah.
That's the funny thing. Why they made a game of the Rambo movies is funny because there's no memorable set pieces. It's just him and a load of other people in different locations.
Whenever I think of them, I can only think of Hot Shots Part 2.
Yeah, that's actually better than all of the Rambo movies. Much as I like them. Okay, my number 10 is a game called Snowfall on Xbox 360. It's an indie game. I have no idea how I found this because it's not new. I checked the new XBlig games. It was just on my hard drive, and it looked quintessentially XBlig, which is why I probably downloaded it. By that I mean that the cover was two young anime ladies smooching each other in bikinis, and one of them had a Santa hat on. The first screen when you boot it up is a lady lying down, licking her lips in a bikini, and the message says the full version of this game features intense multiplayer and hot pics of the ladies. The main menu is single player, multiplayer, and See the Babes. I think this See the Babes, that's what the money is. It's basically a picture pack. What you would pay for if you paid 69p for it is that, because the game's so awful. I mean, you're a woman and you move from left to right and you avoid falling items of female clothing. They rain down from the top of the screen, but you have to collect bunches of grapes. It's not a game. It's so badly done. I'm pretty sure that if you put a gun to my head, I could make this in about an hour. And my expertise doesn't extend beyond 10 print profanity, 20 go to 10. But it's awful. It's not a game. I'm sure the reason it exists is a sort of a covert way of saying, it's like a front. It's, the money you pay is for loads of pictures of cartoon women. So if that floats your boat, knock yourself out. Snowfall.
Knock something out.
Yeah, I can't vouch for the quality of the images because I didn't pay for it, unfortunately.
Right. My number 9 is a game called Basketball Tribes, which I stumbled across by. I'll be honest. I typed in Flash game into Google. This was the first website that came up, and this was the first game on that website. And I thought, here we go. It's going to be terrible. But to my surprise, it's actually very good. You play as a little block-headed man at the bottom of a screen while 3 different rows of basketball hoops move across the top of the screen, one going left, one going right, and then the top one going left again. Each hoop's worth a different amount, and you aim with the mouse cursor. The ball, so say you aim for the top basket, get like 40 points or whatever, it can then fall through the baskets below it. So the idea is to kind of line up your shots so you time them right, but it has like quite good physics in it, so bounce off the side of the rim, then it would hit the other rim coming down, and you have to go and pick the ball up every time. There's bonuses with loads of balls and stuff. And I was like, if I worked in an office, the kind of office where you can kind of sneakily get away with playing stuff like this, like I used to, this could be something that could easily kill an afternoon if you get into a bit of a school battle with your colleagues. It was actually, yes, it's really quite good.
What website is it on?
It's called flash-games.net, I think.
Fair play. What was it called?
Basketball Tribes. Just Google that
Tribes.
and you'll find it somewhere. I don't know why it's called that. He didn't appear to be part of a tribe.
Did you bookmark it for later?
No, I remember that name.
Oh, okay. So you're going to play it again?
No.
Yeah. All right. Okay. My number 9 is Castlevania: Lords of Shadow 2. I played some more of it. We spoke about it last week. I've played a bit more of it, and I'm just done. But like you, there were bits of it where I just thought, I really want to like this. There's moments where I found myself thinking, I want to like this, but it's just kind of tone deaf. And I didn't even like the combat. You didn't seem to mind it, but I just think it just feels like an approximation of something that nobody. I mean, it's the original team that worked on the first Lords of Shadow, and yet it feels like they're doing a sort of a rushed copy. I didn't. And then it made me remember there's that sepia book where the cutscenes come to life in the book, and I was like, I'm pretty sure that's lifted directly from God of War. I mean, it's so hackneyed though. There is only one thing that I love about it, and this is exclusive to me. This is slightly ridiculous, but there's our friend, a very old friend of mine, Fraser.
Okay.
Our friend, a very old friend of mine. I don't see him as often as I do because he lives in the sticks now. But whenever we see each other, because he's a massive football fan, he ties it in with a visit to the pub and we sit and watch a football game. As long as I've known him, he's done something in that situation that never fails to make me laugh. It normally happens when there's a tournament on, when everyone's watching like an England game or something, because there's more people in the pub. But whenever there's like an upset, the ref does something wrong, or there's a penalty that's not. When there's an upset and the whole pub leaps to its feet, and there's just noise, you can always hear Fraser in the background just shouting, "Kill him! Kill him!" And a sound bite exactly the first time I heard it in the game. Whenever there's more than a few enemies, you hear that "kill him." I thought maybe he'd gone into my phone and set it as an alarm tone or something, because I thought he was in the room. And when I realised it was in the game, I was like, 10 out of 10. This is the best game ever. I tried to stick with it. But it's tedious. The word to describe that game is tedious. It's rubbish.
Yeah, I mean, did you see that story that came out supposedly from one of the developers writing anonymously about the director of the game being a nightmare, and they all knew that it was a shit game?
Is he the one who came out and said that there's no way it's a 4 out of 10 game?
No, the director came out and said that. But this other guy, just some anonymous developer, blamed everything on this guy. I mean, really, who knows if it's true? But it's certainly, the things he was saying certainly sound like the game that I played. Yeah, a very misguided project, I think.
Yeah, big time, yeah.
It'd be interesting to hear if anybody is actually really enjoying it. I mean,
people are.
Yeah.
I'm sure people are. I mean, people are so in love with that series.
Yeah.
But that's the thing. I just think it's just so fundamentally faulty as a game. I don't know how you could. If a franchise I love came out with that, I'd be furious about it.
Yeah, I would too. All right. Number 8 is FIFA Football, whatever it's called these days, on PlayStation 4. Just played a little bit more, but like you, this has happened a lot with FIFA almost every year. As much as I admire it, it just loses its way with me about this time of year, and it doesn't have the staying power that Pro Evo does. And Pro Evo was just too broken online this year to stick with it. Too laggy. This isn't FIFA. This is Pro Evo I'm talking about now. The Pro Evo is just a fight just to get a game working, really. Whereas FIFA's just like fast foods, like McDonald's chips. You just stick it on and you've got something to do straight away. But like you said, you start to. Especially when you're playing online, you do just get people who just want to game the system instead of enjoying the game, and that's not really fun. And only the most robust online games can deal with that. That's like the best shooters can deal with people trying to game the system as much as they can by still compensating for it. It's something that's the COD developers have tried to battle against for years to work out a way of stopping people just hiding in the corner with a claymore and ruining everyone else's fun. Yeah. in FIFA, it's just almost impossible to stop people scoring headers from corners. And when you concede one, it's just completely flattening. You don't, and if you score one, you also don't feel any glory at all. So, yeah, I'd love to play it offline with people, but my life situation doesn't really accommodate that anymore.
Yeah, no, I mean, I snuck in a quick game yesterday, and I said, who should we be? And Jay said, we were doing co-op seasons, let's just be Real Madrid, fuck it. And we played another player who was also Real Madrid, and the odds were just stacked against him for the second half. We were just winning everything. He intercepted nothing. I just felt like it was the most hollow victory in the world. I just felt like we didn't really win that game. He had no chance. We weren't outclassing him. The game just somehow decided that it didn't want him to win. I'm certain of it. So yeah, it's a funny one, FIFA. The World Cup one sounds quite interesting. So it means stepping back to 360.
Yeah, it's a shame that.
Yeah, but I'm looking forward to that. I like those tournament games anyway.
Yeah, me too. I always think they're good fun.
Yeah, I just thought they tend to nail the sort of fanfare and the the excitement. As someone who doesn't like football, that's a good thing. My number 8 is Battlefield 4. It's far higher than number 8, but it's basically a given. Battlefield is always on my list. It appears to be working marginally better of late on Xbox One. The best, I mean, we've just discovered squad deathmatch, which is pretty amazing. It's like team deathmatch, obviously, but there's 4 squads and the maps are slightly modified. They're ever so slightly bigger. There's a couple of extra pathways in there. And it's basically like 1.5 times as many enemies, because I swear to God, they start ganging up on the leading squad when you're kicking ass. So that's given it a bit of a new lease of life. But yeah, Battlefield 4, when it works, it's amazing, and it's starting to work more frequently than ever. So fingers crossed it stays that way.
Yes, yeah. I'm kind of fed up with that game, as I've said. Maybe one day I'll play it again. Maybe.
Well, you were always. I remember you just like the gold. Battlefield 4, pretty damn gold. I'm going to be playing that until the cows come home. Obviously not.
Yeah, but it's not my fault, is it? He wants to play something that continually punches you in the nose.
True that.
Yes, my number 7 is Strider on PS4.
Oh yeah.
I'm terrible like this. I'll play a game. I'll really enjoy it. I'll be into it. I'll stop. I'll go back to it and I'll play it and I'll be like, I don't want to play this. This is shit. And I do it all the time. It's not shit. It's still good, but I don't know why I do it. I don't know why this always happens to me. But I don't know. I played some more. I probably played another half an hour or so. And I just wasn't really feeling it in the same way that I was before. I think I like the combat and I like the movement and everything like that. I just think the kind of level, not the level design, the aesthetics, I guess, it was kind of wearing me down a little bit. I mean, I haven't played the original game, but I've seen videos of it, and that was really varied, wasn't it? Lots of like crazy environments and stuff, sliding down mountains and things. And this is just a bit steel and grey, and yeah, it just wasn't grabbing me second time. I don't know why, but that happens to me all the time. I think that's more me than the game.
It's not the most inspiring looking game for sure, but yeah, I mean, I just like the combat so much. I just love sprinting through those rooms and just slicing and dicing people up. And I did it pretty much in one sitting, so I suppose.
Right.
Yeah, I haven't felt I haven't felt inspired to go back. That is a problem. The fact that it isn't very varied at all visually. It is. Yeah. I suppose that does work against it in the long term. But I still recommend it. I still think it's fucking good.
Yeah, it definitely is good.
All right. Okay. Well, my number 7 is Bioshock Infinite on the PlayStation 3.
No way.
I had no plans to play this again, but I download everything on PlayStation Plus just because. Yeah. Am I right? Is that correct? If you download it once, you can forever download it as long as you have PlayStation Plus.
Yes.
Is that right?
And even if you stop and then resubscribe, you can still get it.
Okay. All right. So, but you have to download it in the first place.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, because I heard that Tomb Raider this is strange. The fact that Tomb Raider is the next game on PlayStation Plus, despite the fact that they're presumably trying to shift the next gen version.
Yeah, but if you haven't got, I don't know. Yeah, there must be something. Yeah, it does. It looks strange. Yeah.
But yeah, I kind of have an ink. I kind of want to have a look at that again. So I thought I better have a look at Bioshock Infinite just to look at it and then get rid of it. And and it looks pretty amazing. I think it's pretty inarguable from where I'm standing that it's better on PS3 than it is on Xbox 360.
Oh, really?
Particularly when you do that melee attack, it's fast. I mean, the frame rate drops to like ridiculously small amounts on Xbox 360 when you do that melee attack, and on here it's really smooth and nice. And I sat down and I started to, I just started playing it with just to see what it looked like, and I got completely. I got completely and utterly sucked into it again. I started thinking I want to try and piece this together from scratch again. And the whole time I was just thinking, I think this belonged higher on my list of the games of last year. I mean, I forgot how captivating the opening hours are. Some people got really upset that it doesn't sort of stay along those lines. That didn't bother me at all. And I continue to like the combat. I got to the tower, me and Elizabeth, we landed on the beach. That's where I stopped playing.
Okay,
so for something that I was meant to do for 10 minutes and ended up doing for a couple of hours at least. I haven't got to, the thing is, maybe once a year, there's enough time to play one game twice. And I still haven't finished DMC again I think that was the fourth time I played it. I can't remember. But I could have gotten stuck into this again very, very easily. It was quite hard to delete it. Because I was just like, I want to play this again, but I haven't got the time. And at the very least, it was a nice refresher for the last DLC pack, which is coming.
It's this month, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm very excited for that.
It really does look great. I mean, some of the bits, there was this bit when you're really low on health and you've got no shield. The visuals kind of go cloudy, and these figures bob in and out of it, and there's that bit where you open the door and there's a guy who gets I don't know. We've spoken about the dreamlike nature of how it is, but it really is. It's so clear that it's anyway. What an amazing free game to be given away on PlayStation Plus. If it had passed you by, or you thought, that's not for me, and what a treat to discover.
Yeah, the conventional wisdom and I can't think of the word now. Sorry, fuck it. People are now saying that it's basically not that good, especially as a rational shot. And then people started saying, I say people, I must be careful saying stuff like that because it's probably just like 3 people, but they tend to speak quite loudly. And it's I think it's one of those games that's gone down as in history as not being very good now. Unfortunately, that seems to be how people regard it. But I don't. Well, obviously, I definitely don't agree with that. And every time I do put it back on, it still sits there installed on my PC, and I do whack it on from time to time. It's just glorious. It's absolutely glorious. I mean, it's not. I can understand that it's not the game some people wanted it to be, because it isn't. In terms of the combat, as involved as the first Bioshock, where you're setting traps for big daddies and things like that. Although there is an element to that, and fighting the big handyman guys it's a little bit annoying, I think, especially on harder difficulty levels. But yeah, I still think it's a glorious piece of work, and it's just it's a shame that they're no longer around. For whatever reason. I suppose you can't spend 5 years making one game that sells a few million copies because that just nothing works like that.
Yeah, I mean, but it's as good as playing through it the first time. I was pretty much blown away. I may yet download it again and play through it.
Yeah, the opening hour is just unbelievably really good.
Yeah, definitely.
Yes. Okay, my number 6 then is a game called Threes on iPhone. I downloaded this actually on my wife's phone. I hadn't heard of this, but it got 10 out of 10 on Eurogamer. I don't know if you saw that.
When was this?
Maybe yesterday, sometime this week, in the last few days. It's an iOS puzzle game that got 10. I mean, the guy, I was reading the review. It's one of those ones where you read like 3 paragraphs and the guy's raving, and I was like, fuck, I'm going to check the score, and because it felt like it was going there, and it did. I don't know if the guy's even written anything else for the website. It's kind of strange, but anyway, downloaded this game, and obviously extremely well made and quite a clever puzzle game. Explaining it, how many times have I tried to try and explain fucking mobile puzzle games on this podcast? It's called Threes. The idea is that you have a grid of tiles, basically. I think it might be 4x4, but they're shaped like vertical cards. And you can move everything on the grid left, right, up or down by swiping. And when things get to the edge of the grid, they squash on top of each other. But you can only join cards on top of each other if they're the same number or they're number 1 and 2, therefore making 3, with the idea being to make the biggest number possible across your whole grid of cards or whatever. It's incredibly nicely made, and like all the best puzzle games in this world, it kind of has its own aesthetic and it ties everything together. It's a little bit innocent, smoothie, hipster twat. As you move, the things make sound effects. Sometimes they make sound effects like an old English gent, and sometimes they sound like a Japanese girl, like that. But it's a little. It treads the line of me wanting to tell it to fuck off, but I think it just steers the right side of the line for me, because the game is well made. And I mean, 10 out of 10. Don't know, haven't played it enough. Who knows? Those types of games would never get to that sort of score for me. I'm too stupid to spend enough time with a game about numbers. But one line that I remember from the review is that it looks like you need to be good at maths, but you really, really don't at all. All you need to be able to do is see if two numbers are the same number and put them together, and then the game does all the maths for you. It's just, it's nicely made, but it does eventually, for me, feel a bit too much like one of those fucking slide puzzles that I'd rather stab myself through the bottom of the jaw than play. If you like, it's not as annoying as those in any way, shape or form. It's actually like probably one of the best ways you could ever slide a thing around and it not feel like that. But yeah, that score to me seems insane. But I've only played it for about, a handful of games, so who am I to question anything? But some people love that shit. I think I left my wife playing with it, and I think she's still playing it now. I think she's texted me pictures of her scores and stuff. So she, if you're that way inclined.
How much was it?
£49.
£49. You've got to try it. I'm going to have a look.
Exactly.
10 out of 10 is quite a big deal. That sounds like it could. I'm definitely going to check that out. Can you modify those sounds?
Don't know. Didn't delve into the options or anything like that.
Because that does sound really irritating.
She turned the sound straight off immediately. But the game's there. It's a good idea and it's executed very well. I'm actually trying to find it on Android, and the fucking Android marketplace is just it's a nightmare. It's an absolute nightmare. I don't think it's policed at all. I'm sure the app stores is more policed than this. Every game was just Flappy Bird cones. You couldn't find anything else. And now it's I typed in this game threes, and there's loads of games called threes, and it has an exclamation mark. And I was like, okay, I'll check that out. And they were free. This is before I realised that it was £1.49 on iOS, because I'd heard of it before. But they're not. They're just games that are a bit like that they've just decided to call the exact same name. And that's okay, apparently. I don't even know how anybody does business like that. On the sort of, legitimate business, trying to get their game on there, because, what the fuck can you do? It's just, mobile gaming is not what it was a year ago.
So do you know if the game is actually on Android?
No, it's not.
It's not?
It's just iOS, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that's lame. I don't have an Android phone, but that just sounds like absolute shithouse. But I will check this out on iOS.
Yeah, do. Definitely do 10 out of 10 on your game, you got to.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, my number 6 is another iOS game. It's called Robot Unicorn Attack 2. This is a really, really good endless runner. I basically I played it non-stop for the best part of a day. I never have had an intense relationship with the endless runner genre. A lot of people went mental for Temple Run, or they love those Rayman endless runner games. I've never had a game grip me from that genre, so I'll say that it's absolutely excellent. But if you have had your fill of that genre, I don't know if it will have the same effect. It's based on some Adult Swim cartoon, I think. Or I know Adult Swim have their own game division, but I think it's based on an Adult Swim animation. But you're a unicorn, you're running from left to right, there's a jump and a dash. That's it. It looks amazing, visually very rich, but it's kind of done in that tacky kind of 80s. I always think Beastmaster, I don't even know if that's correct, but there was a time in the 80s where it was kind of trendy to have a poster on your wall with like a woman with a snake round her, and it's all sort of done in like watercolours and stuff. It's really tacky. Do you know what I mean?
I didn't have one. I didn't have one of those posters.
I didn't either, but it's that sort of.
I know what you mean. I know what you mean. I do know that art style. Yeah.
I mean, it's tacky, but it's done like that, but brighter. There's loads of rainbows everywhere. It's really appealing. It's free. There are microtransactions that are really not aggressive at all. Most of the stuff you can buy is cosmetic. I mean, you can buy boosts with in-game currency, but it's not particularly full on. I mean, I smashed the ever-loving shit out of this game, and I didn't feel like I was being aggressive for money at all. You can also buy the music. The music's great. It's very sort of Mitch Murder-esque.
Okay.
So it's hard to... I mean, there was just moments that the levels are so well designed. There was just bits where I kept going, oi, clever. That's really clever. I like the way that was done. I mean, it's just an endless runner, but it gripped me completely. And it's free and it looks great. The music's really good. Just if you haven't if you're not exhausted by that genre, Robot Unicorn Attack 2. I can't vouch for the first one, but the second one's great and it looks really, really great on an iPhone.
I might have to see if that's on Android.
I mean, it almost certainly is. Yeah,
that sounds alright. I like things with good music.
Yeah, me too.
Okay, my number 5 is more Plants vs Zombies Garden Warfare. We went on. We talked about it at length last week. Had a few more games. Still, just an excellent shooter. It's hard to say anything bad about it. There isn't really anything bad about it. It's just not quite as good as the really, really, really great shooters. That's about it. It's charming, well balanced. Everything feels nice to play. The combination of all the different powers is good. There aren't many modes, but the modes are there, work well. Looks lovely, really super smooth. One of the smoothest games I've played, and just damn good fun. Like, what a fun game. I don't really have anything more to add to that from what I said last week, but it was a real surprise that it was that good, and it continues to be that good. And a good game, a fine game.
Yeah, no, it's. I have played it. It's not on my list. My girlfriend's obsessed with it, and we've been doing a lot of co-op with me on the tablet, or taking turns, and it is really terrific. But as you know, as we said last week, I really don't think it's a dumbing down of something like Battlefield. It's the same thing. The edges are sort of sanded down, so it's a bit more accessible. But it's really great. I mean, really great. I mean, it's not. It's already. I'm already done with it basically because I have Battlefield. But if you aren't a Battlefield fan, or you're too young, or you're looking for, I don't know. If that kind of genre has never appealed to you, and you don't understand the appeal of multiplayer shooters, this will almost certainly pique your interest because they've done a hell of a job. There's no doubt.
Yeah, they've got some chops over there. Who knew that? I mean, everyone knew PopCap can make great games of the types of games that they made, but. Yeah, to suddenly come out that strong with a full-on 3D multiplayer shooter. Yeah, they've got some chops. Chop cap,
yeah. It's no mean feat. No, it really is. It is quite an achievement, really. Be interesting to see what they do with DLC. Okay, my number 5 is Tomb Raider: Guardian of Light on the Xbox 360. Xbox Live Games with Gold just announced what they're giving away for the month of March. It's a particularly bad selection this month. I mean, one of them is Civilization Revolution, which I haven't played and is actually meant to be quite good. I understand they can't keep giving away action games or really, really, that's completely fine.
That's a really good game. I think you'll like that a lot.
I'm definitely. I mean, it's downloaded, so I will play it. And the other one was that was the one that really did it for me. That was it was just a generic Xbox Live Arcade dungeon crawler, I think, or it's just one of those games that there's a million of, and you just think, make a fucking effort. I'm kind of torn though because, as I've said before, I think I get my money's worth from that service. In ways that I wouldn't if I was paying for it for PlayStation Plus. Free games is great, but they're two different things really. But anyway, I remembered that Tomb Raider: Guardian of Light was given away a couple of months ago, which I think is probably the best one to date. And I played it back in the day, but then a mate of mine's downloaded it as well, so we decided to do it on co-op. I forgot about how good it was. It's legitimately excellent. What I didn't realise also is that you can download a free character pack and you can play through the whole thing as Kane and Lynch.
Oh, no way.
Did you play Guardian of Light?
Yeah, I did. Yeah, not all of it, but I played a good chunk of it. Yeah.
Did you rate it?
I thought it was good. I remember. I think we talked about it at the time. Maybe I didn't quite like it as much as you did. I can't quite remember.
Did you play it on co-op?
No.
That's it then. That's exactly why.
Yeah.
It's a fantastic co-op game. That's what the bottom line is. I did it with my girlfriend on local back then, and we were doing it online. But we did it as Kane and Lynch. And whoever programmed the sound bites is a genius, because basically everything's the same, the cutscenes are the same, but there's just little sound bites from Kane and Lynch. One thing that they do is, whenever you start doing something a bit dark, I don't know how they did it, but every time I went to ask Zeno, or he went to ask me, what are you doing? One of the characters would be like, what the fuck are you doing? To this extent, it just made us laugh, because I don't know how they knew when to do it. It's very weird. But the comic timing of the other instances it's second to none. Any time there's a cutscene and it's like, oh, I'm going to protect the temple, blah, blah. Just as it's fading out, as the cutscene's fading out, one of them would just go, fuck! Oh, what the fuck? I mean, this probably says a lot more about us than it says about the game, but we did not stop laughing. Those instances of comedy never got old. It's just them swearing, but the way they were placed, honestly, it never got tired. I mean, genuinely laugh out loud funny. But I think the game's very good as well. It's an isometric approximation of Tomb Raider. But on co-op, I mean, I wouldn't even bother playing it on my own. It's a co-op game through and through, and a very good one.
I don't. I always forget that you get free Xbox games. I don't think I've downloaded any since that Grid Defense, or I don't even know what it was called. I just forget that that's even a thing.
Yeah, well, I mean, it barely is a thing. That's the thing.
Yeah, true. Has there been any Xbox One? There hasn't, has there?
No, TBC, they keep telling us, TBC. But then again, I'm torn about this, because Xbox Live is an incredibly stable, almost faultless service, and that's what I pay for. And, I don't give a shit about free games. I'm still paying for it regardless.
Yeah.
PlayStation Network, as better, it's gotten considerably better from how it was, on PlayStation 3. It's still not the same thing. So that's why the free games are so great. But whatever.
Yeah, indeed. Sorry, I was yawning then, and I tried to hide it, but I think I failed.
Standard.
My number 4 then is Resident Evil 4 on personal computer. This came out last week, didn't it? The new Ultimate HD edition or whatever.
Yeah.
And I thought, I've not played Resi since. When did I think I played the PS2 version, and I played the beginning of the Wii version. I got to the bit where all the zombies, or the baddies, whatever, come and attack the house. The famous scene where you're trying to block the fucking move the cupboard or whatever. So yeah, I haven't played it for years, basically, and I thought I do fancy it again. And they've done a pretty bang up job, really. It runs smooth as anything on my PC, 1080p, 60 frames, and those 60 frames do make a difference. Controls took a while to get used to again, just to go back to everything being on the one stick, and obviously some people have said that, why didn't they implement a strafe or twin stick control or something? It's like, you can't. The whole game is built around this. I mean, I'm far from the first person to have said that, but the whole game is built around the way that Leon moves. So you can't change any of that. That's the game, the way the game is designed, and it'd be completely incorrect to change any of that. And obviously, it's Resident Evil 4, so it's fucking marvelous. It's still marvelous. It still holds up completely. It's still tense. It still has that just enough kind of corniness to be funny. It's still fun to shoot those guys. It's still fun to hear the things that they say. It's Resi 4. I mean, what am I going to do? Sit here and talk about how good Resi 4 is? Everyone knows how fucking good Resi 4 is. A million people have talked a million words about how good Resident Evil 4 is. But I'm just happy to have this really, really nice version to play through again. I'm looking forward to finally getting past the bits with the cupboards and getting into all the stuff in the castle and all that good stuff later on, which I can remember glimpses of, but I don't remember it that much, which is that's going to be good to experience all that again.
I've been meaning to play this again on Xbox 360, but that port was meant to just be fucking appalling. My problem is that how many times did you finish it when it first came out?
I finished it once, and I've played about 2/3 of it once, and then I got to the cupboards once.
Okay. Oh, yeah, because I've played it through in excess of 6 times over the GameCube and the Wii. So I almost bought the Xbox 360 version, but it's on Mac as well, this version, isn't it?
Oh, is it?
I don't know, is it?
I don't know. I thought it was just PC, but it might be.
I saw it on the Mac Steam, so I think it might be. Shite. Okay. Well, I mean, yeah. What can you say? Do you remember any of the choice quotes from those guys?
Room full of steroids.
Room for the steroids.
Matalo. What's the oh no, that's
Rah.
There's one more as well, which is good, but I can't remember it.
For it.
Oh yeah, of course.
Yeah.
That's kind of informed the way you and I have spoken to each other for the last 10 years.
Yeah, that's true. Was there another one? But I can't remember. Yeah, there's
Boom full of steroids.
Boom full of steroids. There's if you haven't played Resident Evil 4, there's no excuse. Does it really not feel old?
The controls feel old, but it just holds up. Those opening scenes where everyone's attacking you from both sides in the village, and you can go inside, go upstairs, get the shotgun, jump out the window, all that stuff, and you're holding on until the bell rings. It's still there. It's still got the tension. It's still the satisfaction of shooting the guys is still there, popping the weapon. It was just like something that somehow the two sequels didn't nail, despite basically being the same thing.
But they were action games through and through. They weren't even attempting to have any kind of suspense. They were just
true.
Especially 6. Fucking hell.
Absolutely. But it definitely still holds up, and it looks how I remember it looking on GameCube, which must mean it looks a fuckload better, if that makes sense. Yeah.
Okay. Are you going to finish it?
I'd like to think that I would. I'm not going to promise myself because I don't. But the good thing about having it on a computer is that you don't have to delete it to make the space. I've got a big old hard drive on there that's just going to sit there on Steam. And I've been much more inclined to jump back into things for an hour here and there on Steam because they're all in. It's just such nice, on Xbox where you've got to scroll through all your things and then fuck knows how you find stuff on next gen. And my PS4 is just turning into a big long 9. Xbox One, I don't even know. I don't even understand how to do anything on that machine. Whereas on Steam, you just got a nice list in writing, like for a grown up, and it's way easier.
Okay. All right, yeah. I mean, I would like to have access to that because I would like to play it in HD. But then again, I fear that I'd start it and then just be like, nah, I can't do this again. Yeah. Who knows? I'd be still very surprised if the Wii version isn't the best version though, because new shiny visuals is one thing. The Wiimote control was just. I can't imagine there being a better version of that game than there was on the Wii. Okay, my number 4 is Outlast on the PlayStation 4. I finished it. I've been playing Pass the Pad with my girlfriend. I think it's really, really terrific. I mean, the end was pretty wank, but it was just an ending. I mean, most games, most films, most stories, anything don't end satisfying. We've just gotten used to just like, here's a fucking ending, there's the end, there's some stuff happens and that's the end. So it didn't annoy me as much as it did you. I mean, it was pretty shite. I mean, it was just like a monumental cop-out. The more I think about it, the shitter it actually is.
It's pretty shit.
Yeah, it is. It's just, I mean, it's a cop-out. A cop-out and a half. But it didn't really I still think very highly of the game, especially the sound design. I mean, even on my crappy built-in TV speakers, we felt like we were outsmarting people just by using the audio and listening to where they felt like they were in the room, which is a sort of testament to how well designed the sound is. There are some more in the final third. Amazing jumps, not cheap at all. I mean, a couple of times we yelled out loud. Amazingly well done. Really, really good. I think it did go on a tad too long. They shut off an area, go and find 3 fuses. That's. I mean, but I think it got in and got out quick enough so that I didn't dwell on those aspects of it. So I mean, I think it's a very, very good. I mean, another excellent PlayStation freebie. How much is that? If you want to buy that, what does that cost?
I don't know. I think it might be 20 quid. I'm not sure, 20? Or maybe 16.
Well, anything in that sort of area. If you missed it on PlayStation Plus or you're listening to this, somewhere down the line, Outlast is really, really worth looking into. I think it's very well made. It's a shame the ending goes so tits up, but really entertaining.
Very entertaining and genuinely like nerve-wracking.
Yeah,
genuinely. Another PlayStation Plus game then for my number 3 is Dead Nation Apocalypse Edition. I think it's called. This came out this week on PS Plus on PS4. It is the I don't actually know what's different between this and the PS3 version. I don't think it's a huge amount. some nice graphical overhauls. It's from Housemarque, who do the Resogun, Super Stardust, etc. And it's a kind of isometric twin stick zombie shooter, and it's hard to get hugely enthused about it. What I liked about it is it looks quite nice on PS4. One of the nicest looking versions of those types of games. Really nice lighting. It has a cool mechanic where the main rifle that you have, which has infinite ammo, has power shot, and you can use that and line up zombies and let go of the shot, and you'll headshot them all. Yeah. So that's actually a really nice mechanic. But I know it's meant to be played in co-op, but after a little while I was getting quite bored of it. It has another thing I do like about it, actually. It has every Housemarque game seems to have this, a kind of boost that makes you invincible, and this has it as well. You can it recharges on a power bar very quickly, so when you're stuck you can kind of boost in the direction that you need to get out of trouble and keep shooting. But I don't know, man, zombies, it's hard. I mean, I'm talking about Resident Evil 4, but that's different. This is just about as zombie as you can get. You move through the levels. There'll be bits where the area gets shut off and you have to clear it out. Ugh, you've done it a million times before. It's very dark. Has some nice ideas where you can shoot cars with car alarms. I say nice ideas. It's not like you haven't done that before. And then there's weapons to upgrade. There's a shop in between each section of the level where the whole game is about building up currency by quickly looting the cars and killing the zombies, and you rack up a multiplier which increases your score. But yeah, it's just not great at all, and it had some problems as well. After the level finished, it asked to just upload your scores, normal shit, and you just sit there forever, and nothing happened. I cancelled it, kept going on the game up, but I've heard that people playing co-op have got in the same situation, sat there, gone to cancel it, and it's booted them out of their co-op game, and they've had to start again, which is a nightmare. I can't see me playing any more of it, to be honest. It's a well-made game of a thing you've done a million times before in a setting that you've seen a million times before, and I know PS4 is starving for games at the moment, but this isn't the one. It feels like shit. We needed to get something on PS Plus this month, and I still appreciate that. It's a new game, a sort of new game, but it's no Outlast, it's no Resogun, you know.
To be honest, I took one look at it and I just thought, well, yeah, I'm probably going to swerve that, because that's someone who's played a lot of XSplit games. I've played more top-down zombie shooters than anybody in the world, perhaps, and it just looks like another one. I will play it, but yeah, yeah, it looks like the most inessential PlayStation Plus freebie on PS4, definitely.
I go along with that. Yeah, even more so than Contrast, because at least that's kind of interesting.
Yeah.
So far, but it's well made. You know, fucking Housemarque are very good at making video games. It's just, I don't think it's their most inspired. I never played it on PS3. I think it kind of came out during a time where my PS3 was basically just off for about a year. But yeah, it's a bit disappointing. I'm sure it would be more fun on co-op, but still not enough to justify the time sink, I don't think.
Well, I'm definitely going to play it on co-op, so I'll report back. Yeah. Maybe that'll make all the difference.
Maybe.
Who knows? Although I have to say, I don't expect it to. Okay, my number 3 is an iOS game called God of Light. This is a new release. It got recommended on Twitter by a listener, and I'm very glad it was recommended. It's a very, very fine and very engaging puzzle game that involves you redirecting beams of light from these reflective discs. Some of the discs can be rotated and moved, etc. And there's a very, very inviting chill-out... it's not really a song. It's like songs. It's like a soundscape by Uncle.
Oh, okay.
And there's an air of Avatar about the whole thing. The James Cameron film. There's all this talk of a celestial tree, and there's these. You're sort of moving these twinkling sort of sources of light. So it made me think of Avatar. I'm sure that it was an influence. It starts off quite mildly, and I was enjoying it so much that I kind of wanted it to stay that way. It's that kind of very pleasurable, laid-back experience that you find less and less, especially on iOS. Sadly, it starts getting intermittently really crafty and encouraging you to pay for assistance. And I'm just not happy with that structure. Most people these days are. This is a business model that people accept and are happy. I just like paying for things and getting them. So basically, on 3 occasions, I had to consult a walkthrough. That's the other problem. It's not a problem. I'm very happy that it. But I hit a couple of 3 or 4 brick walls, and it went on the internet, and it's a video game, so there are walkthroughs available online. But those points where I got stuck, they felt to me like they were deliberately put there to extract money. I mean, the severity was so sudden. They felt like really harsh spikes. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I just was having an off day, but it felt to me, because the invitation's always there. If we can sort of give you a couple of hints or something for some money. And I'd already paid for the game. I mean, it was 69p for the first couple of days, and now I think it's £1.50. But I don't know. I wish there was a way that all of these games had 2 options. If you're a curmudgeonly old fuck and you don't understand microtransactions, a couple of quid, fine, I'll pay that. But in a game where there are difficulty spikes and there are microtransactions, it's always going to be suspicious, even if it wasn't created that way. I will always suspect that they're trying to get money out of me. And when you've already paid for the game, something about that sits wrongly with me. But I don't want to undersell the game at all, because it's just playing it was really pleasurable. I mean, there were just waves of elation because the music's so nice, and the perfectly pitched puzzles, when they aren't being brutally difficult all of a sudden, the pitch of the difficulty is so perfect. It's mechanically and aesthetically just pretty delightful, really. I have a problem with the way it's been priced, but then again, not everybody does. It's one I really, really recommend it. It's just, I'd advise consulting a walkthrough if you get stuck, unless you want to spend more than you perhaps plan to on it.
Yeah, when free to play stuff actually changes the fundamental design or something, it's such a turn off.
But it's difficult because they might. I mean, it felt to me like, because they come out of nowhere. Honestly, it's such a chilled experience playing. It's so nice, and I had headphones on. The music's really nice, and boom, and I just was like, I can't figure this out. I tried everything for about 10 minutes. I can't do this. This is on the first 15, 20 puzzles, and I'm just because it's quite a fast-paced game. I consulted a walkthrough. But all the while, the only button that's throbbing is like, do you want to buy some of these little fireflies so you can light up areas of the map you can't see? 69p. It's like, well, I've just paid for the game. This is confusing. I mean, when I was thinking the other day about Fight Back, the Ninja Theory iOS game.
Yeah.
And I thought, I played that game for hours, not minutes. I mean, a couple of hours, maybe more. And then when it asked me for money, I was like, fuck off. So maybe I'm the dick. I really don't know. I wanted to give the people that made that game money, but I was so aggressed by the payment. I don't know. It's a weird. The free to play really, really bothers me. I don't think I'll ever get my head around it.
I don't either. My head, I mean. Yeah, I don't like it. Really.
If something's suddenly difficult and there's a way for it to not be suddenly difficult by paying money, there's always going to be suspicious. You can't. I don't care how many times the developer says, we promise we haven't, I don't know. It's such a fucking minefield. I don't want any part of it. I just want to be able to pay for something and get it.
Likewise. It seems to be less egregious on PC, the whole thing. The big free-to-play games, League of Legends, World of Tanks, they're not as upsetting. But on mobile, there's a lot of scummery going on mobile. Yeah. Not necessarily that, but there is a lot of it.
It's a real shame in this instance, because I just wanted to rave about this game, because it really is really, really fucking nice. Everything about it's really good. Just fucking, I just can't get my head around it.
Yeah. All right, then. Okay, my number 2 is a game called 10 Second Ninja. I spoke about it briefly last week, but I played a hell of a lot more this week. It's just come out on Steam. And, it's fucking fantastic. This is a game where you play as a little ninja, and every level you have 10 seconds to eliminate all the Nazi, I don't know why they're Nazis, Nazi robots on the level. To do so, you can slash them with your sword, or you can throw 1 or 3 shurikens at them. You only have 3 shurikens. Killing all the robots in 10 seconds, not hard at all. Piece of piss. That'll get you 1 star, but the game is all about getting 3 stars, and I am not joking when I say to get 3 stars, you have to do it perfectly. I mean, perfectly. This is the test of your dexterity and your skill level, like very little else. It has an incredibly quick restart. It is utterly compelling. It does very clever things like like when you actually smash the robots, it makes your pad vibrate in a really satisfying way. So it has that feedback. It puts you into a kind of really satisfying feedback loop. And when you do hit it and you get those 3 stars, because you fucking work for it, the feeling every single time, I just clenched the pad in my hand and opened my mouth and I was like, I felt like a fucking monster. The game is all about 3 stars. I've done the first 3 worlds, I think, and I think I've 3-starred the first 2 worlds completely, and all but 1 on the 3rd. And I've started to take a look at the 4th, but I've played it for fucking hours to do that. Another element of the game is you have to work out, because there are multiple ways of killing all the things. Obviously, it's just jumping on platforms and killing the robots, but you need to work out through trial and error, really, how to get that run, because there can be a couple of ways, but normally there's one way through the level to get that 3-star rating. And I think some people will enjoy the discovery part of it, but after a while you can get to a point where you're doing it within 0.5 seconds of the 3-star time, but you're not 100% sure if you're doing it right, and you're like, am I just banging my head against a wall here, or do I need to look for a different path? Beautifully, someone had already put an entire walkthrough up of the game on YouTube, so I was more than happy to watch how to do it, because it doesn't matter what you can know how to do it, but doing it is still a massive undertaking. So if I found that I wasn't comfortable with the path that I had, I was more than happy to do that. And I actually tweeted out that this game, 10 Second Ninja, is my Dark Souls. This is like fucking flawed. I'm not stating Dark Souls, it's just I'm not compatible with it. But this is like super fast, obviously, meticulously perfect controls, instant restarts. You feel like the beautiful thing about it is, even if you're spending all your time on one level, you are developing skills that are going to make you better later on in the game. So not everything's done in isolation. So just skills in exactly where you want to be hitting your platforms, skills exactly how to throw shurikens. It's a fucking brilliant video game. I think at the moment it's like $5.50 or something like that on Steam. It's available on Mac and PC. And if you like Super Meat Boy, if you like Trials, if you like fast platform games, and this is just genuinely feel original. There's never been a game that does what this game does. This is an absolute cracker. I said last week it's destined for greatness. I think it's already achieved it, to be honest, but I still think it's destined to appear on the consoles as well, because it is fundamentally a console video game.
So it works with like a 360 pad?
That's the way to play it, yeah. I couldn't imagine not play. You couldn't play it without a pad, I don't think. Realistically, right? I'm sure it is to play it on mouse and to play it on keyboard, I should say. I'm sure it is, but you're a mug if you try and do that, as far as I'm concerned.
I'm sure people who use PCs a lot will probably be their preferred choice, though, right?
Maybe, but I think people who use PCs a lot and don't play games on a pad won't necessarily be interested. I mean, there'll be a crossover, obviously, but I don't think this is the type of game for them. This is the people who've been playing console games their whole life. This is what this game is, and made by 2 guys, one guy really, and then another guy did the music. Just fucking brilliant.
Is there actually confirmation? Is there confirmation on when it's coming to consoles, or is that
no? This is just me saying that it just feels like it will do. Okay. But there's no talk of that yet, as far as I'm aware. But get it. If you like, I tweeted out another one. I said, if you like games like me, and I assume that some of the people who follow me will kind of know my taste from listening to this podcast and whatnot, then you need to get it, because if you like the same type of shit as me, this is one of the best ones I've played.
Can you play through the whole thing just 1-starring everything, or do you get to points where...
I think there are points where you need more stars, but I never had that problem. But the game is 3 stars. It's not like those iOS games where you're like, oh, maybe I'll go back and get 3 stars. Like, the game is 3-star in the levels. 1 star in it, anyone could do that. Anyone could fucking 1-star them. It's easy.
So you have to be excellent at it to progress?
I don't think so. I think you could probably... Because a lot of the time you'll get 1 or 2 stars, and I think you can probably get through huge chunks of the game just like that. But I know for a fact that when you start playing this game, you will only be 3-starring the levels. I can't imagine anyone playing it and not playing it like that. You might go ahead. You give up. So you're playing the same level and you've restarted it 100 times. You go, well, I'll move on, go and do a few more of the levels and move back to it. But eventually you need it. That's what the game is.
Yeah, but with games like that, I'm always slightly bothered by the fact that a lot of the time you're kind of prevented from going further until you sort of ace a couple of levels early on. And, if you're not amazing at it, which this game sounds like it demands so much that I just, I don't know. I'm going to play it.
I know what you're saying, but I promise you, it's so intrinsic to how the game is designed. Unlike other games that operate on a 3-star system, this is. You will see within playing it. If you jump off the first level without 3-starring it, I'll be amazed. I'm sure you will sit there until you've done it. I'm sure of it.
Okay. Well, I'm going to play it next week. I saw footage earlier in the week, and I was just like, oh God.
It's dangerous. It's a fucking dangerous game. Yeah, I think I played it without blinking for about 45 minutes and just had to go and lie down for a minute.
God. All right. Well, I'll talk about it next week if it hasn't killed me. Okay. All right. My number 2 is Earth Defense Force 2025 on the PlayStation 3.
Oh shit.
It's also available on Xbox 360. Did you play 2017?
I did, yeah. Not that much of it. I probably played about 10 levels of it.
Okay. They have a very they're cult. They've got a very, very avid cult fan base, and if you're not aware, absolutely everything about 2025 as it was with 2017, because there's not a whole lot of difference in them. Well, there are differences, but it's very much the sequel to 2017. Everything from the animation to the frame rate to the way the sounds mixed to the music to the clipping with sort of NPCs clipping in and out of buildings and whatnot, the draw distance, the sound bites that keep repeating, all of it is almost deliberately low rent. But as with 2017, this actually adds to the appeal quite a bit. First off, the dialogue. The dialogue is really quite amusing. After playing for the first hour of me playing it, I looked and I realised that I'd made about half an A4 page of notes and it was just quotes. Because I was laughing the whole time, because they do this weird thing where they take a question or a statement and a response and they just mix them up. So you have one question and one response, and they won't match up at all what the grunts are saying in the field. It's hilarious. And the dialogue with all the officials talking about it, the giant insects are back. That's impossible. These giant insects are stronger than ever before. You're supposed to be trained in fighting giant insects. I mean, the dialogue's ridiculous. But there's this kind of weird fever dream insanity to it. Now, someone saying something as poncy as what I just said, if you're not enjoying the game, it's not going to be a weird fever dream insanity. It's just going to be a fucking shit game. So if you're not enjoying the game, it's going to be another thing that you hate about it. But I was really enjoying the game much as I did 2017. It appears to all completely ignore the existence of Insect Armageddon, which I didn't realise it, but it was developed outside Japan. It wasn't even done by Sandlot. Did you play Insect Armageddon?
No, I've only played 2017.
Okay, yeah, because playing 2025, I was playing it thinking, I could have sworn the last one looked a hell of a lot better than this.
Right.
But this is a direct sequel to 2017, and it seems to ignore Insect Armageddon except for the classes. The class system's kind of the same. So the Ranger is like the old style EDF sort of ground-based troop. The Wing Diver can fly. There's this Air Raider class, which is kind of for beginners, but it's completely useless in single player. You can just spawn vehicles and set targets for airstrikes and stuff. It's something that a very young child could sort of play along cooperatively, but you never. But don't. If you're playing alone, don't pick that class. And then there's the Fencer, which is a heavily armoured guy, but very, very slow and really hard to master, kind of sort of difficult to manoeuvre. It's the class that's for people who've smashed through it with the other classes, basically. It's like the hardcore option. The appeal of these games remains the same. Do you like Carnage? It delivers more carnage than most games feel comfortable with. At first, I was a bit worried because one of the great pleasures is levelling an entire building with one rocket. Or a couple of rockets, and at first that's hard to do, but as you unlock, there's something like 700 weapons in this apparently. Wow. So you're always unlocking all of these weapons, hundreds for each class. And yeah, it's It's the same exact. I mean, if you didn't like the other games, this is not going to float your boat. There's no scores. I didn't even realise it. It's not even a score attack shooter. There's not even scores. There's not really a sophisticated upgrade system. I mean, there's progression, but it's not an upgrade system. It's just carnage. It's just kill everything, destroy a planet, and listen to some ridiculous dialogue while you're doing it. The loading times are like pretty harsh for a game as sort of technically inept as this. It's also far too easy to accidentally hit yourself. You know, something that happens way too frequently is this: you see a bit of scenery and it's not really very near you, and you fire a rocket and it hit the scenery and it kills you. That happens a little bit too often, and you know, if you're playing on hard and you're near the end of a level, boy oh boy, does that get old fast. But yeah, aside from that, it's really entertaining. It's kind of it's completely unapologetic about the fact that it's just carnage. Do you like carnage? There's plenty of it here. Well, I mean, it's a shame about the performance issues. I mean, there's. Oh, I should mention there's split screen co-op which works right. There's also a mysterious versus mode where you're 1-on-1, and it just completely doesn't work. And there's a really good lobby system for online full-player co-op, which is the way the game should be played. There's not. I mean, it's fun on your own, but it's all about playing on co-op, whether it's split screen or sort of full-player online. It's really good, mindless, technically inept, brilliant crap.
It sounds like it.
Yeah. It's really good fun. The fact that it's almost a full price game, I think that's a dumbass idea. They should have brought it out as a download for half the price. They probably would have, a cult property like this is not going to spread at full price.
Yeah, wasn't that the 2017 not full price?
I'm pretty sure. I'm almost certain that didn't launch at full price. Yeah. So the fact that this isn't either. I think this is 30 quid, 35 quid.
That's still quite a lot. Yeah,
it's too much for something that's Some people are going to play this and just think, "What the fuck is the fuss about?" Because it is the same thing over and over again. Go kill, go destroy, go. But it's there's something refreshing about it as well.
Yeah, I always meant to get back into 2017, but at full price, I can't see me playing this one. Even though that sounds funny.
It is.
Speaking of funny, then, a nice segue into my number one, which is South Park: The Stick of Truth on Xbox 360. Is this on your list?
My number one also, yeah.
Fantastic. So, this is, as everybody I'm sure knows, the very long-awaited RPG from Obsidian, written by Trey and Matt of South Park fame, obviously. And it's the kind of open-world RPG with turn-based battles version of South Park. And I myself, I kind of loved South Park when it first came out. I think I was about 15, 16 years old, and I was obsessed with it. Loved the movie, just kind of drifted out of it. I've got no problem with the show at all, but I'm amazed at how long it's still been going. But instead of watching it, I these days just seem to be fed what happens by other people, which is obviously never as good as actually watching the show because they try and recreate it for you, and obviously that's no fun at all. But I was still very excited to play this game, just because I just liked the idea of it. I liked the way it looked. I liked what I'd seen in clips. I wasn't expecting it, however, to be absolutely, just from beginning to end, absolutely hilarious. One of my most enjoyable gaming experiences I've had in a long time. From the opening bars, it's not bars because it's not music, the opening lines, where you as the new kid, the fucking opening class selection, where was it? You pick between warrior, thief, mage, and then Jew, which is just straight away you know what you're in for. I'd forgotten about all of that stuff in South Park. And then just straight into the kind of fantasy about the Stick of Truth, where Cartman, it's basically like a Lord of the Rings / Game of Thrones / Skyrim fantasy RPG. Parody piss take where the boys are playing a big LARP, like that fucking movie Role Models, isn't it? Across South Park. But that does a great job of setting up all the jokes, setting up the gameplay as well, so everything kind of ties in. It's just really clever stuff. And then the game itself is like a combination of, you can walk around South Park. It looks exactly like it does in cartoons, pin sharp. Frame rate's occasionally a bit dippy, but I still think it's great. The environment's not huge, but it's really dense. There's loads of detail, loads of characters that you'd recognise, even I recognised. And just it's kind of tactile as well. You can walk around hitting everything, hitting the post boxes and the things you get the newspapers out of, and everything kind of snaps or falls over or bends. So that was quite good. And so you've got that element. Then you've got the battles. So it's an RPG. So a lot of the game you spent battling other things, and it's kind of like a fairly simple turn-based battle like you played in many RPGs. I've heard a lot of people refer to it as like Paper Mario. I've never really played Paper Mario, so I wasn't sure about that. But it has the turn-based stuff that you'd see in a Final Fantasy, but there's an element of skill to it as well, where you have to time button presses for blocks, and all your attacks involve a sort of small type QTE type thing. I thought they're really good. I don't think they're hugely deep, but one thing they did manage to be is funny. Genuinely funny. All the attacks, it's you and a buddy, so you as the new kid / douchebag, and then different buddies throughout the game. At the beginning it's Butters, who's I never when I watched South Park a lot, Butters wasn't in it, but he's definitely my all-time boy. And just everything. The first thing that really cracked me up at the game, and I had to pause it, is very early on in the game, and this isn't spawning a joke because that's criminal. It's not even a joke. Very early on in the game, you have to go and get something from some meth heads down in the opposite side, the other side of the tracks, the poor part of South Park. And so you get into a battle with these meth heads, and immediately one of them just threw a broken bottle in Butters' face, and just the whole image of that happening just it slayed me, and I had to pause the game. And it just never really let up. I have to say, I was really upset by the Ubisoft's decision to censor certain scenes in the game. Just a maddening decision for multiple reasons. One, I don't like censorship anyway, but two, it's fucking South Park, so you know what you're getting into. It's not like it's not been around for 17 seasons. And three, there's stuff in the game that's clearly has offended. Where do you draw the line? You're not going to be offended by stuff that is in the game, but you are going to be offended by what they censored in these scenes. I mean, I can't imagine someone that being their life. I don't know. The whole thing is just maddening, but thankfully the text that comes up on screen, which is written by the guys, is still pretty funny. So you just about get away with it, and there's so much content and so much humour in the game that it eventually doesn't matter. But I just thought it was an absolute triumph. I just absolutely loved it from beginning to end. Just hilariously funny, just a riot, fun to play, really dense, good side quests. Just funny things happening. The places that it takes you are something else, to say the least. And I just have many memories of laughing out loud to South Park: The Stick of Truth. I thought it was absolutely cracking.
I mean, I've only done around. I think I'm at around the halfway mark, from
Right.
what I understand. But so far, it's basically an unqualified success. The only benefit, I haven't had the frame rate issues that you've had. The only benefit, I think, to it being on next gen consoles would be shorter loading times, because I think there are quite a lot of loading times, and they do break it up quite a bit. But as you said, it really does look like an episode of the cartoon. They have sort of really made it does look very, very good. I suppose you could say it's an RPG by numbers, because it does tick all of the boxes you expect.
Yeah.
And because of how customizable everything is, and how the kit isn't locked to classes, are the classes just pointless?
I think they have different special attack. You know, the special attacks that you do, where you have a certain amount of PP points, and you can do those special. Right. I think the different classes have different special attacks. I think, yeah. But yeah, it does seem it seemed like it's basically there for that gag at the beginning. But that's fine.
That's fair enough. Exactly. It's clear that Trey Parker and Matt Stone understand video games, because their fingerprints are all over it, and they have maintained control. In ways that most people I probably wouldn't care enough to do, or wouldn't be mad enough to attempt to do, because it is a truer extension of the TV program than I was expecting it to be. And there are some, I mean, I've laughed the whole time. And I'm like you. I like South Park. I don't really watch it. I never really have. I've kind of sort of admired it from a distance. It's not a show that I think I'd get bored of it quite quickly, but I do appreciate it at the same time. but so far, I think if you're a fan, go and get it. It's as a tie-in, especially of a comedy. I can't think of anything that's worth comparing it with, because I think it's because they've clearly kept it, that they've clearly worked so closely on it that it is, like I said, a very, very true extension of the program.
Yeah, all I can remember the whole time when I was playing it is just constantly saying to myself, this is amazing, I love this game. I must have said that to myself about 30 times, so that's a ringing endorsement as far as I'm concerned. I don't know if I'll end up hoovering up all the side quests. I've done the main story and a bunch of side quests, but a lot of them, side quests, are very just go here, do a thing. There's normally a gag to make up for it, but they do become a little rote after a while. But the actual main game it really moves along at a nice pace as well. I've heard some people complaining about the length because it's an RPG and for some reason they have to be 9,000 hours long. The game's over and story mode probably took me about maybe 10, 12 hours. I thought it was perfect. Felt like a really extended version of the cartoon. I was just I don't want to spoil any of the jokes because I just think that's totally unfair. And it's so lazy to do so. But I just remember one which made me laugh. It moves along at a great pace. It's constantly swerving and changing direction in the story, and just great stuff. Just truly great stuff. And it has, even all the crap that you find loads of loot that's just junk, but a lot of it's kind of context sensitive to where you are in South Park, and a lot of that made me laugh. Like what you find in Cartman's mum's room, for example, and the stuff you find in the church in the drawers. But I don't really. Yeah, it's given me a further appreciation and kind of admiration for South Park, and it's actually making me seek out. I don't know where to start. I think I tried to watch some of the ones from basically where I stopped years and years and years ago, and they feel quite old now. So I think I might just watch the most recent series, but I don't know if it will ever get me as much as this game did. It just, I don't know, something about the way it broke up the gags with the actual gameplay. I don't know, but I thought it was corking.
Yeah, I'm really enjoying it. Really, really liking it so far. And it's. I mean, I think if you're a fan and you fans of anything, when there's a tie-in, they always get shafted. But this is they've clearly sort of kept a tight leash on this, and it's I think it's paid off. I'm only halfway through, but I'm loving it. Really am.
Yeah, same. Right, that's it then. Another one in the can. Thank you very much for listening. Check us out on Twitter, as always, at John Denton, at Chet Roivas, at Chet and Johns, and please do keep the game recommendations coming, because that's always useful and very, very welcome. Do check out the YouTube channel. It's growing every day. Chet and John on YouTube. And as Chet often says, if you do have the time to just chuck a review on iTunes, whatever you might think, if you do have the time to do that, the effect it has on our iTunes ranking is insane. It is stupid. It's a broken system, and that's the only reason why we would ever ask. But it shoves us from the fucking maelstrom of nothingness at the bottom all the way up to the top of the charts with one review, because the iTunes is completely fucked. So if you do have the time, we would hugely appreciate that. I think that's it, isn't it?
That's it.
Covered everything. Yeah. Sweet. See you next week.
Goodbye. We'll see you next week. Goodbye.
¡Por él! ¡Agárrenlo! ¡Ahí Allí están. ¡Basta, hijo de puta! ¡Cabrón! Cerebros. Cogedlo. ¡Cogedlo! ¡Detrás de ti, imbécil!
¡Acá! ¡Empieza a rezar!
¡Mátalo!
¡Mierda! ¡Míralo! ¡Está herido!
Morir es vivir. Muere. ¡No dejéis que se escape! ¡Os voy a romper a pedazos! Sí, quiero matar. ¡Sos cerdo! ¡Te cogí! ¡Te voy a matar!
¡Un forastero!
Boom full of steroids.
For the steroids.
¡Un forastero!
Por él.
Mátalo.
¡Mátalo!
That's-
Rah, rah, rah.
Rah, rah, rah.
¡Agárrenlo!
Come back anytime.